ahead, Matt, because you
Yeah,
go
just
ahead.
Okay, and
yeah,
about about how they treat each other.
yeah.
They
Tell us
show it.
some. Right. Tell us
They give us
something.
example, but they give us examples of
Can you
it.
tell us some examples, please?
Yeah, they respect their elders. They
Mm-hmm.
respect their parents.
Mm-hmm.
They respect each other's property. They respect each other's space.
Mm-hmm.
They respect each other's individuality, the
Mm-hmm.
same way that they respect each other's spirits.
Got it. So when they respect each other, all those things that they respect about each other, does that respect pass on to, other races or even other blacks that don't believe what they believe, or does it stay within their sphere?
No, it passes on to everybody. That's
Okay.
why they were so accepting.
Okay.
That's
So,
why if you notice when you pay attention to how voodoo ends up
mhm.
developing, they had no problem with using the saints from the Catholic Church and involving them
Yeah, I mean
inside of
that's
the
no
tradition.
different. Right. Exactly. That's no different than what the
But
Nazis
y'all
did.
would not do
Yeah.
the same thing though.
Of course not. So my next question is,
Exactly.
if we go
Because it's
ahead and put.
anti-African.
Well, no, it's actually
Bro,
not.
I
I've
mean,
already disproved that. So my next question would be, if we were to go ahead and put the Vodun community on one side and the, I guess, conscious community on the other side, would you say that it is a great reflection of the values of Vodun in their relation to the Hebrews and how they interact with them and the Christians and what they say about them?
Hold on, you kind of lost.
Okay, I'll repeat myself. You basically gave this great example about how the Vodun people treat themselves. You name some things that are even in,
Is who a good representation of that?
right. I'm
brother,
asking you,
hey,
right. I'm
Damo,
asking,
hold on, let him speak without interrupting, man. God
that's
damn, come on,
okay.
man.
Right. I'm asking you the what you laid out about the Vodun people and how they end up treating each other.
No, I'm getting clarification. That's all.
Right.
See, you see what
Right.
I'm
It's
saying?
okay. It's okay.
That is a
So let
tactic.
me.
That's a tactic. Let
Right.
him finish and then get clarification when he get done.
Bro,
I'm giving
bro, are you
clarification now.
serious right now,
Hold on.
bro? I'm
I'm
having a
serious. You don't
conversation with
understand
this
because you
dude.
keep he do 5 words and you come in with
Bro,
something.
Hey, I'm hey, Jeremiah.
chill
Trust me, I
out,
got
bro.
it.
I'm
Trust me, I got
conversing
it.
with this
Oh
man,
man, ain't
bro.
nobody
So
doing you
let's
like that,
continue.
bro.
Right, let us continue. So I'm gonna clarify and ask my question again. In light of everything that you said about the Vodun people and everything that you said, how they treat
Right,
each other, yada yada. I ask you,
right.
is the conscious community, would you say that it is a great reflection of the Vodun people in their relation to the Hebrews and the Christians and how they interact with them and what they say about Christians and Hebrews? Or would you say that they could kind of do a bit better?
Well, I would say personally, well, first of all, the conscious community does not represent voodoo,
Okay.
and most of their spirituality has to do with most of them deal with with a comedic spirituality,
Okay.
and
So would you say
and
that the dark side representatives are those who could properly represent Vodun?
no, because what the dark side is doing is voodoo is part of the would be part of the foundation. But what we're doing is we're scratching everything, and we're only taking what we need moving forward.
Got it. So basically, you gave us an example about the Vodun people, that people that are in your sphere that
Yeah, they
you
were too
talk to. Yeah.
they were
I mean,
too nice.
well, no. Let me. I'm just trying to get some clarification. Basically, you gave a great example of the Vodun people, that so far we can't even we can't even compare that to the dark side people, the conscious people, or the comedic people. All those people that you kind of associate with, you can't even compare them to the Vodun people that you've given an example. So you gave an
Get him, man.
example that we really can't even compare to the people that that are around in your sphere.
Matt, he
They,
can't even name a tribe.
so I because I
A
just want to know,
tribe of
like,
who?
hey, the whole thing is what I'm trying to say is this: you're basically saying, hey, the voting people are a great representation of And then when I try to fill in that blank, you just say no, no, and no. So why give the example of something if you can't compare it to, others
Get him, Matt.
don't,
That's our Christian scholar. Get him, Matt.
you know what I'm
No,
saying?
he
Yeah,
no he
yeah, yeah,
he
yeah.
no
Get him,
you
Matt.
gave me first of all, hold on, because he hold on, the question that was asked was name he asked me to basically name a tradition where they practice how treating each other and this and that. And I
Right,
gave him one.
right,
So I don't after that I don't
No, no,
get
no, 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 no.
right. So the
Okay, now
issue
we
is,
asked
no,
where
you
it
I
what.
goes
got it.
from there.
I got it,
When he
Trevor.
asked you when the
Never
dark
mind,
side
trust
represents
me. I got
all.
it. I got it. Trust
Okay,
me.
get him, Matt.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be
it's okay.
quiet. Go ahead, Matt. Get him.
Yep, it's all good. Yeah, the reason why I asked you to divulge an example is because we're trying to take that example and say, hey, who is a good reflection of this example that you approve of? And so far, you've named no one. So I guess the last person I can ask is, are you a good example of the Vodun people and the things that I assume that you adopt from them in your relations to Hebrews and Christians and what you say about them?
The only people that would be a great representation of voodoo people would be people who are voodoo practitioners
Right. So that would not be you.
or voodoo people in general.
Right. So that,
Exactly.
that would not be you, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so
Correct.
basically you're giving us an example of people that you're pointing to, and I
Yeah,
assume that
we're
you hold on, I have to get this out. So basically you're giving an example of people
mhm.
that you're pointing to, and I guess you kind of glean some things from them in your personal life, but you're saying, hey, that's not who you are, right? That's not, you're not
we're building we're building off of what we can use,
right.
like the
I'm
niceness that
asking you
they
to
showed when
identify.
that we can't build off of that.
No, no, it's not about what you're building off of. I'm asking you the example that you're giving,
It's a
you identify as that. Like, for example, I read into
no, I
Christianity,
identify
therefore,
as dark side.
okay, right. So you already said the dark side is not an example or representative of, these Vodou
Correct.
over. Okay,
Of voodoo.
right. So you're going to point to somebody that's totally irrelevant to who you are and which practice. So therefore, we can't even compare that to
He asked,
and say,
did you catch the okay, so you overlapped the question that he asked me on the reason why you got that response.
mm-hmm,
So that was based on the question that he asked me. He said, name any tribe or any tradition. That's what he asked me
yeah,
over there. He didn't name over here. Now, if you want to talk about how we treat the Abrahamic faiths as far as the dark side, then that's a totally different discussion. And we can definitely have that discussion.
okay, great. Then that means that the example that you gave is something that we can't even interact with or anything at all. So that's the purpose of an example. Like, you're supposed to give something where we can say, "Hey, okay, well, let's see about that." We can't even test it. So, can you give us an example of something from the dark side that would show uh, something that you believe, and at the same time, can you pose a concern that you have with Christians or Hebrews in that example?
Yeah, I got a concern.
Okay.
Um, Number one, there is no way possible we could coexist. And the reason why I say that we cannot coexist is because
Did you cut out?
Hey,
Yeah,
Matt.
I'm
I
not
think
The
hearing
Most
nothing.
High
I'm
shut
not
him
hearing.
down. You see?
uh
Hey,
no,
hey,
no,
the Most High take the wheel. That's what just happened, y'all. Won't he do it? The Most High take the wheel when you're wrong. Ain't that right?
uh,
Right. My wife will tell you.
well,
Hey, now let's get back to this guy over here,
okay.
Solomon.